LTQ pen already has a cult following, and I want to show you why. The License to Quill pen is part of my Making Faces collection. Both this gorgeous creature and its friends, the Ultimate Pens, take their inspiration from eyeliners. With its brush tip with a lovely fine point and that beautiful waterproof dark black ink, it's fantastic for finishing touches, for eyelashes, and for creating small details in your artwork. It's not the kind of pen you would use for everyday use or tons and tons of lettering, but it's the perfect tool choice when you want to create expressive, beautiful lines, especially over mixed media, which just means over all sorts of different art supplies, because it will get up and sit on top of just about everything. So in this video, I'm just going to let the footage roll. What I've got that I've already started in the background is just a face shape with some leftover paint, and I was creating the video for my new Matchmaker paint set that has the 3 parts to it, so you can mix a great variety of beautiful skin tones from light to dark, and you've got all the beautiful colors for shadows. I just had leftover paint on my brush and I just popped it onto just a rough face-ish type shape on the opposite side of the page in my journal. So I've got that nice contrast of all those little dots with the face stamps on, and you can see that all happening in a different video. And on the other side, I've got room to create someone else. Let's see who falls out of the paintbrush. And these gorgeous paintbrushes that I'm using that give these beautiful blush-like effects for your art are the Mermalicious brushes. They're based on makeup brushes, so they have that lovely softness and the ability to blend, but they're really for your art. And just as someone would do for their face, I'm adding just a soft glow of blush, some contouring where under the cheekbone would sit, just to start the face here, and also to give a background of different elements. So I've got the chalky pastels that are usually very hard to draw on. Not with this pen, and I want to show you. Also, I'll have it over some oil-based things. Doesn't worry at all. So I'm starting just by putting down the first little arc of the eye. I know that the eye is going to line up somewhere where the ears are. I also know that I can make changes and change things as I go. So if I don't get the placement of any of the features right from the get-go, it doesn't matter. The other thing is, I'm working in an art journal. I am playing. So I'm telling myself all the time, if it's not perfect, if I haven't got the eyes in exactly the right area, I've got tons of tools that I can use to get the features in the spot that's going to make me happy when I look at my artwork. But also, I'm not intending to create a masterpiece. I'm really doing this because it's fun. So I'm just outlining these eyes and getting the nose placement, getting the eyebrows in, all of these things join. And of course I have Drawing and Painting Beautiful Faces, which goes through this. And I have all of my online workshops if you wanted to learn more with me, just showing you how to, create. But I just go ahead. I've also got stencils. So seeing me draw something makes you think, oh, I'm never going to be able to do that. Remember, I've done a lot of practice, and I'm not saying this is the best thing you've ever seen or anything, but if you're brand new at this, I've got stencils and stamps and all sorts of other tools to help grow your confidence so that you will feel comfortable drawing one day. Anyway, back to what's happening on the screen. I've been drawing with the LTQ pen, and of course the reason it's called LTQ is it stands for License to Quill, which is a play on a James Bond, License to Kill. But it's because it's just as deadly and just as awesome as James Bond. And joining it on screen now is its friend, the Ultimate pen. This is in the color called Made in the Suede. So it's a soft brown. When you first apply it, it can look quite dark, and then but it's up to you if you want it to be a little lighter or a little darker. You can go over it, make it darker, but it's this beautiful warm sepia. I'm going to add a little bit of this indigo, and this is a color called Daisy Dukes, which named after Daisy Duke's famous little shorty shorts in denim, and just letting some expressive lines flow from my pens. Now I just also want to point out, I don't think I do it in this video. I have it in others though. If I add water pretty much straight away, I can get this ink to react to the water. Once it's dry though, that's it. It's waterproof. It dries really, really quickly. It's an incredible ink. Actually, I shouldn't say it's an incredible ink, because I actually do have an ink that is called Incredible Ink. It is not Incredible Ink, it's Ultimate Ink. Also adding a little bit of the Golden Age, which has shimmer in it as well, but it's part of the Ultimate Pen series. I love it for adding accessories, a little bit of gold, bit of glam, and a little bit of gold glimmer to the eyes, just to bring attention to the top of the eyelids there. Let's add a little bit more color to the lips. So I'm using one of my baton blenders, and I just like to think of these as a clean fingertip that I have at hand all the time. All of these new art supplies in the Making Faces collection are skin safe. So, you can use your hands, but, eventually you do get stuff all over them. So it's nice to always have that clean fingertip at the ready in the baton blenders. That's how I think of them anyway. I like to soften the colors with a paintbrush. It might not be a tool that you think of with pastels, but I think it works beautifully for faces, because we like to get these nice soft gradations from one color to another, and that's a perfect tool for it. It does really soften things up. So with a twirl of the brush, I can add color. With a bit more of a twirl of the brush, I can take that color away as well. It's very versatile. And speaking of versatile, I'm going to be adding a little bit of a color called Spark in the Drama Sticks. So these are based on beautiful, soft and smudgeable eyeliner pencils and lip liners. And in art supply terms, you can think of them as the most smudgeable, soft oil pastel trapped in the body of a pencil, which makes them a little bit cleaner to use, and you can get a lot more control over them, which for such a blendable, smudgeable thing, it's very nice. So I like to blend them with my baton blender, or you can blend them with your finger, and I'm using my baton blender here to blend the drama stick with the palette pastel as well, which gives it a different effect. It's just so much fun experimenting with all of the different colors and all of the different creative choices that this whole range of art supplies gives you. And even though I'm the one that dreamed of these things and have been testing them and working with them, I am discovering new things all the time about how far I can push these different art supplies. And then I learned so much more from the fantastic people who are part of my different Facebook groups and what I see on Instagram. It's just wonderful to see how creative these things make people feel, what it helps them do. So on screen, I was just adding a little bit of the Velvet Pastel. So these are a gel pastel formula. They dry down to something very, very matte. They're kind of like a liquid lipstick in the makeup world, but of course formulated for artists. So they're kind of like, it's hard to explain them without you actually touching them, but they're sort of like an acrylic paint. Imagine an acrylic paint that has a magical gel-like consistency but doesn't lose opacity. So they've got that beautiful opacity that an matte acrylic paint has, like the acrylic paints in my set, but there's a different life to it as well. The colors that it comes in are gorgeous, and they are so fantastic for creating lips with. So all I've done here is laid down a soft color. I think I used Pink Princess, or it might be Rose Empress, one of those two colors in the first layer. Let that dry off a little, and then put a little bit of Monarch down. I'm putting a little bit of that on the cheeks on the other side of the page as well. I love that they're just always at the ready. I don't have to load up a paintbrush. I pull the little doe foot out just like I would with a lipstick and apply it. And I've got instant color gratification when I'm creating. I'm also adding a little bit to her cheeks, and you get, when you rub that out with your finger, it just gives that beautiful soft powdery finish because it is a pastel in that gel formula. They're just something very new and different. I do have a whole video dedicated to velvet pastels, and in all of the videos that I've created for this new collection, you'll find them popping up quite often. They're, you know, a favorite. Adding a little bit more of the spark on the cheeks just to get the little highlights in eyes, on cheekbones, on noses, areas that come forward. And I'm just going back over details with the LTQ pen, just as the drawing starts to resolve itself and I can start to feel the direction that the journal page is starting to go in. You know, I can just start to resolve things. So make the pupils round. Also adding some of my journal tattoos in the masquerade set that are part of this collection. Adding some orchids to the hair, but there are false lashes in there and all sorts of other tiaras, feathers, faces. They're fun little embellishments. Adding some more drama stick to the eyes and a little bit of colour stick in Bright Future, which is a really limey yellow. Now I'm going to add a little bit of shading, a little bit of contouring with my shimmering mermaid pastels. So these are two little tiny palettes, very handy, just hold them in your hand. I'm using the one of the blend-in sponges, also using sometimes the baton blender, which is the long skinny baton shaped blender, just to add more color. So I'm contouring with some blush. I'm adding a little bit of contour under the cheekbone just to build in some volume, and to be quite frank, it's fun. Also going back in with the drama stick in Spark, which is that white, and adding some little highlights on the high points of the face, redefining the eyes, and adding some color stick over the orchids. Now, as you'll hear me saying on many of my videos, I'm experimenting and trying things all the time just to see what will happen. I mean, I don't always know, and that's one of the fun parts of being an artist, is experimenting and trying different things. I'm going to add a little bit of wording. So this is a song that's playing in the background. It's a line from something I've been listening to, and I love adding those sorts of things into my art journals as well. It captures that moment in time, but also it's capturing what your ears are picking up in music or in things that you're hearing, and that does have meaning. Now I'm also just moving the lips back. I felt the lips were a little bit far forward, so I used drama stick to mask out some of the color at the front in a flesh tone that matches the paint in the background, and using some of the a red drama stick to drag the lips back a little. And I love that luscious color. They dry down to a matte waterproof surface, but while they're still I can't really say wet, but while they're still active, they're very smudgy, like an oil pastel. Now I'm also adding some pastels to the eyes, adding some gorgeous bright eyeshadow color to her with my shimmering mermaid pastels, and using a blender, one of my blend-in sponges, to add color to her face. So I've got a soft, beautiful metallic blue just to fill in some of that color. As you can see, where I've got the paint in the background that's bigger than her the face in the end, that sort of thing doesn't worry me. It just shows where the drawing has come from, and yeah, just it's sort of the anatomy of the drawing or the underpinning. And remembering this is a journal page, this is the type of art that I love, this is mixed media. You might love something completely different. I'm just giving you a few ideas of how I like to work. I mean, that's all I can really show you, isn't it? what it is that I like to do, and hopefully you'll see something in here that inspires you or something that you would like to try in your own way. You can see that I love this drama stick in the Spark, and also loving the LTQ pen, just for those beautiful brush lines that I get with it, that variety of line, how it goes from thin to thick, and how quickly the ink dries, and it's absolutely waterproof. The Ultimate pen is friends with this pen, and you can have so much fun with all of their beautiful waterproof inks in all the different colors. I hope you enjoyed the video, that you found some techniques that you can use, and that I've maybe made you a little bit curious about my new Making Faces collection. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then you can check the comments box down below, and I've got all of my different links there. Or you can find me on Instagram, Jane Davenport, and in my mixed media group that I have on Facebook. Just look up Jane Davenport Mixed Media. You can find all of my art supplies at janedavenport.com, plus stockist lists on stores all around the world where you can find everything as well.